A tech millionaire spotted someone familiar holding a cardboard sign in the pouring rain. His vanished ex-wife. The woman who'd disappeared without explanation 3 years earlier. Now homeless and terrified. Darnell Washington gripped his luxury sedan's wheel, knuckles pale against dark leather. Through sheets of rain hammering his windshield, he couldn't believe what he was seeing on that downtown sidewalk. The skeletal figure huddled there, shivering beneath a handwritten plea for help, wore a face he'd memorized long ago. Vanessa, his ex-wife, the mother who'd abandoned their toddler son Jallen without a single goodbye. 3 years had passed since she'd walked out of their lives. 3 years of solo parenting while scaling his startup into a tech empire worth 9 figures. 3 years convincing himself he'd moved on. The traffic signal switched to green. Horns blared behind him. Darnell didn't budge. He slammed the gearshift into park and stepped into the deluge. Icy water soaked through his tailored suit instantly as he crossed the street, each footfall feeling heavier. Up close, the devastation shocked him. Her clothes draped over bones. The cardboard beside her read, "Anything helps. Blessings." Her trembling hands made the paper cup rattle against concrete. Vanessa, her head jerked upward. Pure terror filled her eyes. She scrambled away, toppling the cup. Loose change scattered across wet pavement. "No," she breathed, voice fractured. "Please no." Darnell crouched slowly. Rain drummed his shoulders, plastering his close-cropped hair flat. "It's Darnell. Just me." Recognition crossed her features, followed by something far worse, crushing shame. "I'm sorry, so sorry. I'll leave." All her legs buckled. He caught her before the fall. She felt weightless, fragile. "When did you last eat?" No response. Her gaze went elsewhere, unfocused. She flinched when his hand touched her shoulder. Carefully, Darnell lifted her toward his vehicle. She didn't fight, just stared ahead like consciousness had partially left. He placed her in the passenger seat, cranking the heat to maximum. The 20-minute drive to his estate passed in absolute silence. Darnell's thoughts spiraled. What was he doing? She'd left him, abandoned their baby without explanation. But witnessing her like this, shattered, petrified, barely surviving, erased every rehearsed confrontation. The automated gates swung open. Vanessa's eyes widened slightly as the mansion materialized. 10 bedrooms, 8 baths, guest cottage, pool, landscape grounds. All of it vacant except for him, Jallen, and the daytime nanny. At the entrance, Vanessa froze. "Your son," she whispered. "Is he staying with his grandmother tonight?" Darnell replied. Relief washed over her face. Inside, he guided her toward a first-floor guest suite. Fresh towels in the bathroom. "I'll bring clothing, and I'm calling my doctor." Vanessa's head snapped toward him. "Please don't. You need medical help. Non-negotiable." He left before she could protest, already dialing his private physician. Dr. Patterson arrived within 60 minutes. Darnell paced the corridor during the examination. The door finally opened. "She's severely malnourished," the doctor said quietly. "Dangerously underweight, anemic, showing prolonged stress and exposure signs. I've started 4 fluids. She requires careful monitoring." "Can she communicate physically?" "Yes, but Mr. Washington, that woman's endured significant trauma. Severe anxiety symptoms, possibly PTSD. Approach gently. Some wounds take more than medicine to heal." After the doctor departed, Darnell knocked softly before entering. Vanessa reclined against pillows for attached to her arm. She'd showered. Her damp hair appeared darker now. Without the grime, he could see her features clearly. The woman he'd loved, aged now, haunted but still recognizable. "Thank you," Vanessa addressed the wall, "for helping. I'll leave soon." "You're staying." Her eyes finally met his, the same brown he remembered but hollow. "I can't remain here." "Why?" "Because I don't deserve kindness. Because I destroyed everything." Darnell pulled a chair beside the bed. "I spent 3 years hating you. 3 years wondering what I'd done wrong. 3 years explaining to our son why his mother didn't want him." Vanessa flinched. "But seeing you out there tonight, I understood something. Whatever happened, it wasn't because you were living better without us. Tears tracked down Vanessa's cheeks. So, I need to know, Darnell continued. Why did you leave? How did you end up on that street? Silence stretched so long he thought she wouldn't answer. I thought I was protecting you, she whispered finally. I thought staying meant someone would kill me, maybe hurt you and Jallen too. Darnell's blood turned cold. What are you talking about? Vanessa closed her eyes. Not tonight. I can't. Not tonight. Darnell wanted to press, demand answers, but Dr. Patterson's warning echoed. Be gentle. Rest. We'll talk when you're ready. He nearly reached the door when Vanessa spoke again. Is he okay? Jallen? Is he happy? Darnell turned back. He's a good kid. Smart, funny. Asks about you sometimes. Vanessa covered her face. Her shoulders trembled silently. Darnell left her to grieve privately, climbing stairs to his own room. The rain had finally stopped. His ex-wife was downstairs. Someone tried to kill her. That's what she claimed. Someone frightened her so badly, she spent 3 years homeless rather than return. He pulled out his phone, scrolling to a contact and used for years. Derek Coleman, private investigator. Darnell typed, need to meet. Urgent. Money no object. The response arrived within minutes. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. My office. Darnell set the phone down. Somewhere in this house, his son's mother lay awake, terrified of shadows he couldn't see yet. But he would. He'd illuminate every dark corner until he found what had broken his family apart. The meeting with Derek Coleman lasted 40 minutes. Darnell laid out everything. A wife vanished 3 years prior, a threat he'd never seen coming. Coleman listened, taking notes. I'll need home access. Security footage from that period if you saved it. Phone records. Anyone who contacted your wife before she disappeared. Whatever you need. I'll need to interview her eventually. She's not ready. Coleman studied him. Mr. Washington, if someone threatened your wife severely enough that she fled, that person might still pose danger. Time matters. Give me 1 week. Push too hard and she'll bolt again. Coleman closed his notebook. 1 week. When Darnell returned home, he found Dr. Patterson in the kitchen. She ate some soup this morning. Not much, but progress. She should be strong enough to move around tomorrow. And mentally, that will take longer. I prescribed anxiety medication, but she refused. Said she needs to stay alert. After the doctor left, Darnell stood outside Vanessa's door, knocking gently before entering. Vanessa sat by the window, wrapped in a blanket, hair pulled into a loose knot. How are you feeling? Better. Thank you for everything. Darnell sat down. Jallen comes home tomorrow. I need to know what to tell him. Something flickered across Vanessa's face. Pain, longing, fear. Tell him I'm a friend you're helping. He won't remember me anyway. He asks about you. Where you went, why you left, if you didn't love him. Tears streamed down her face. I love him more than anything. That's why I left. Sometimes the deepest love demands the hardest sacrifice. The following days fell into uneasy rhythm. Vanessa grew stronger physically, walking without support, but she moved through the house carefully, always checking behind her. Doors slamming made her jump. She avoided being alone in rooms. Darnell noticed everything. How she positioned herself with her back to walls, the nightmares that woke her gasping in darkness. Jallen came home Sunday afternoon, bursting through the door with typical energy, his bright smile lighting his deep brown face, chattering about the movie they'd watched. Dad, can we go to the park? Grandma said. Jallen stopped, staring at Vanessa frozen in the hallway. Jallen, this is Vanessa, Darnell said carefully. She's staying with us temporarily. She's a friend who needs help. Jallen tilted his head, curly hair bouncing. Why do you need help? Vanessa's mouth opened. Nothing emerged. She's been sick, Darnell explained. We're taking care of her until she feels better. Okay, Jallen said easily, then grabbed Darnell's hand. Can we go to the park now? When they returned 2 hours later, Vanessa was in her room with the door closed. Darnell put Jallen to bed and came back downstairs, pouring himself whiskey and standing by the window, watching city lights spread below. Footsteps made him turn. Vanessa stood in the doorway wrapped in an oversized cardigan, eyes red. I saw him through the window when you put him to bed. He's so big now. Darnell said nothing, just waited. I need to tell you what happened, Vanessa said. I need you to understand why I did what I did. She moved to the couch, sitting carefully. Darnell took the chair across. 3 years ago, Jallen was 2, Vanessa began. You were working on that big merger at the office 18 hours daily. Darnell remembered, the deal that launched his company into the major leagues. I started getting letters. Anonymous ones. They came to the house. Someone slid one under our door at 3 a.m. while we slept. What did they say? Leave Darnell or die. Vanessa's voice dropped to almost nothing. Over and over. Different threats, same message. Darnell's blood went cold. I thought it was a prank initially, but then I started noticing things. Someone following me. A car parked outside our house at odd hours. Footsteps behind me during neighborhood walks. Why didn't you tell me? I tried. Remember that night I said we needed to talk? You got a call from your partner, left at 2 a.m., came home to find me asleep. Darnell did remember, vaguely. He'd assumed it was something trivial. Then one night, I woke to the bedroom window open. I know I'd locked it, but it was open wide. Muddy footprints on the windowsill. Jesus. I was terrified. But you were in Chicago that week. I told myself I was being irrational. Hormones, paranoia. She wiped her face. Then it happened. I was crossing the street near our house. Daytime, bright sun. I looked both ways and a car appeared from nowhere, aimed right at me, Darnell. It didn't swerve, didn't brake. Hit me and drove away. Darnell's hands gripped the armrests. The accident. You told me it was a hit and run. It was, but not an accident. Someone was trying to kill me. I almost lost Jallen that night. The doctor called it a miracle he survived. She looked up with hollow eyes. After that, I couldn't think straight. I was terrified constantly. I kept wondering who could hate me enough to do this. And I kept coming back to your mother. MC-16. Darnell's chest constricted. His mother had never hidden her disapproval. But murder? I couldn't prove it. No evidence. Just letters with no fingerprints and a car never found. Who would believe me? Your own mother? I thought if I told you, you'd think I was crazy. I would have believed you, Darnell said, but his voice lacked conviction. Would you? Vanessa met his eyes. Would you really have believed your wife over your mother with no proof? Darnell wanted to argue, but he'd been so absent during those months, so focused on work. I decided the only way to keep Jallen safe was to leave. If I disappeared, whoever wanted me dead would stop. You could raise our son in peace. MC-17. So you signed divorce papers and vanished. I made it look like I wanted out, like I'd found someone else. I thought if you hated me, it would be easier. You'd move on. I never forgot you, Darnell said quietly. Vanessa's face crumpled. I lived in shelters, cheap motels when I could find work. Eventually, even that ran out. I couldn't use my real name. Couldn't apply for jobs needing background checks. I just disappeared into the streets. Every day, I told myself Jallen was safe, that it was worth it. Silence filled the room. Darnell's mind raced through 3 years of anger, pain, confusion. I'm going to find who did this, Darnell said finally, his voice ice. And they're going to pay. Vanessa shook her head. It's been 3 years. It's over. It's not over until I have answers. The next morning, Darnell drove to the old house where he and Vanessa had lived. A small 2-bedroom he'd meant to sell for years. The realtor kept pushing for a quick sale, which meant clearing everything inside. He unlocked the door, stepping into stale air and dust. Furniture sat covered in sheets. Boxes lined the walls that he started in the bedroom. Most of Vanessa's belongings were gone, but his old clothes still hung in the closet, some books, photo albums. Behind the dresser, wedged against the wall, he found a small plastic case. Darnell pulled it free. Inside was a hard drive labeled Security Cam Backup in Vanessa's handwriting. The date was 3 days before she disappeared. His pulse quickened. He grabbed the drive and headed straight home. His office had top-tier equipment. He connected the drive and waited while old files loaded. After several minutes, grainy security footage appeared on screen. Darnell fast-forwarded through hours of nothing. Then a car pulling up across the street, sitting there 30 minutes before driving away. He marked the file, and kept searching. More footage. Vanessa leaving the house. The same car following her. Then the moment that made his blood run cold. Vanessa crossing the street in broad daylight. The car accelerating from a parked position. The impact. Vanessa falling. The car speeding away. Darnell zoomed in on the driver's window. The quality was terrible, but he could make out a figure. Female, dark hair. When she reached to shift gears, her hand appeared in frame. On the back of that hand was a distinctive scar, crescent moon-shaped, pale against tan skin. Darnell stared at the screen. He knew that scar. He'd asked about it once during a late office night. The woman had laughed, saying she'd burned herself on a stove as a child. Brianna, his secretary, his trusted right hand for 5 years. The person who'd been by his side through every major deal, who brought him coffee exactly how he liked it, who'd consoled him after Vanessa left. Brianna had tried to kill his wife. Darnell called Derek Coleman immediately. I found something. I need you here now. Coleman arrived within the hour. Darnell showed him the footage. The investigator watched in silence. That's your secretary, Coleman said finally. Brianna Turner. Yes. We need to be smart about this. If she did this 3 years ago, she might try again now that your ex-wife's back. We should set a trap. Darnell's mind was already working. She doesn't know I found the footage. As far as Brianna knows, Vanessa's just some homeless woman I'm helping. Does Brianna know who Vanessa really is? I haven't told her, but she might have seen her, and we make sure she does. We'll let Brianna know exactly who's staying with you, and watch what she does next. The plan came together quickly. Darnell had cameras installed throughout his house, hidden ones. He made sure his security team knew to let Brianna in whenever she came by. Then he mentioned casually during a phone call that his ex-wife had shown up and was staying at the house. Brianna's response was perfectly measured. That's very generous of you, Darnell. I'm sure it must be difficult having her back after everything. It's complicated, but she's Jallen's mother. I couldn't just leave her on the street. Of course not. You're a good man. 2 days later, Brianna showed up with a basket of food. Homemade soup, fresh bread, tea. Darnell answered the door. Brianna smiled warmly. I thought you and your ex-wife might appreciate a home-cooked meal. I can't imagine how stressful this must be. That's thoughtful. Come in. I'll let Vanessa know you're here. He led Brianna to the living room and went to get Vanessa. In the bedroom, he found his ex-wife sitting on the bed. Brianna's here. She brought food. I need you to come downstairs and act normal. Vanessa's face went white. Your secretary? What? Please trust me. I'll be right there the whole time. They returned to the living room together. Brianna stood by the window, but turned when they entered. Her smile didn't waver, but something flickered in her eyes when she saw Vanessa up close. It's nice to meet you. Darnell's told me so much about you over the years. Thank you for the food, Vanessa said softly. Brianna set the basket on the coffee table. I made tea as well. It's a special blend, very calming. I thought you might need something soothing. She pulled out a thermos and 3 cups, poured tea into each one. This one's yours, she said, handing a cup to Vanessa. I added honey. Darnell mentioned you have a sweet tooth. Darnell watched Brianna's movements carefully. Her back had been turned while she poured, long enough to add something no one would see. Vanessa reached for the cup. Brianna's smile widened. Actually, Darnell said, stepping forward. Why don't we switch? I could use something calming myself. He took the cup for Vanessa and handed it to Brianna. You drink this one, Vanessa. You take Brianna's cup. Brianna's smile froze. Oh, that's not necessary. I insist. Drink it. Brianna stared at him. The mask finally slipped. Her expression went cold. You know, I found the security footage. I know you tried to kill her. I know you drove that car. And I know you just tried to poison her. Brianna's expression hardened. For a moment, Darnell thought she might run, but instead she laughed, a bitter, brittle sound. Poison? That's dramatic. Just sleeping pills. Enough to make her sick. Why? Darnell's voice shook with rage. Why did you do this? Brianna turned to him, her eyes bright with something manic. Because I love you. I've loved you since the day I started working for you. You were everything I wanted, smart, ambitious, driven. We were perfect together. And then there was her. She spat the word at Vanessa. She was nothing. A freelance artist with no ambition, holding you back, making you soft. I knew if I could just get rid of her, you'd see that. You'd see me. So you terrorized her. Tried to kill her and our unborn child. I wanted her gone. I didn't care how. I sent the letters, followed her, broke into your house. When none of that worked, I borrowed my brother's car and waited for the right moment. I would have finished it too, if she hadn't run away. Why didn't you look for her? Brianna shrugged. I thought she left you for another man. The divorce papers made that clear enough. I was thrilled. You were heartbroken, yes, but you were also free. I stayed close, comforted you, waited for you to realize we belonged together. She looked at Vanessa with pure hatred. And now she's back, ruining everything again. I couldn't let that happen. The front door burst open. Derek Coleman entered with 2 police officers. They'd heard everything through the hidden microphones. Brianna didn't resist when they cuffed her. As they led her away, she looked back at Darnell one last time. I did it for us. You'll see. Eventually you'll understand. Then she was gone. Vanessa collapsed onto the couch, her whole body shaking. Darnell sat beside her, but she pulled away. It was real, Vanessa whispered. It was all real. Someone really did want to kill me. I know. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I didn't see it. Dr. Patterson arrived 30 minutes later, gave Vanessa a sedative to help her sleep. When she finally went still, Darnell stood in the hallway with the doctor. She's not okay. No, Dr. Patterson agreed. She's not, and she won't be for a long time. That woman needs serious therapy, trauma counseling. She can stay here. I'll make sure she gets whatever help she needs. That night, Darnell sat alone in his office. Vanessa was sedated in her room. Jallen was asleep upstairs, unaware of the chaos swirling around him. He'd found the truth, caught the person responsible, done everything right. So why did it feel like he'd lost anyway? The next morning, Darnell and Vanessa sat across from each other at the breakfast table. Neither had slept well. Jallen was at school. Brianna's in custody, Darnell said. She confessed to everything. She'll go to prison for a long time. Vanessa nodded, looking numb. You're safe now. The threat is over. Can what? Vanessa interrupted. Go back to normal? Pretend the last 3 years didn't happen? Pretend I didn't abandon my son? You were protecting him. I was running away. I was so afraid I couldn't think straight. And now I'm back and I don't know how to be here. I don't know how to be his mother. Darnell reached across the table. Vanessa didn't pull away, but she didn't take his hand either. We'll figure out together. As what? We're not married anymore. We're not even really friends. We're just 2 broken people who used to love each other. Maybe that's enough. Maybe we start there. They agreed on a fragile arrangement. Vanessa would stay in the guest house, separate from the main residence, but still on the property. She'd see Jallen regularly, but not force a relationship. Darnell would make sure she had everything she needed: therapy, medical care, time to heal. They'd be co-parents, nothing more. But as Darnell watched Vanessa walk toward the guest house that evening, her shoulders hunched against the weight of everything she'd survived, he felt something crack inside his chest. She was here. She was safe. The nightmare was over. So why did this feel like the saddest ending of all? 3 weeks passed, then 4, then 2 months. Vanessa attended therapy 3 times weekly. She took her medications, followed the treatment plan, but she still lived in the guest house, still kept her distance, still startled at unexpected sounds. Darnell watched from his office window as she walked the garden paths each morning, moving like someone afraid the ground might disappear beneath her feet. Jallen asked about her constantly. Why didn't the nice lady eat dinner with them? Why did she live in the small house? Could he show her his drawings? Darnell said yes to the last question. He'd take Jallen to the guest house after school, and they'd spend an hour together. Vanessa would sit stiffly while Jallen showed her his artwork. She'd smile, but it never reached her eyes. One evening, Jallen fell asleep during their visit. Darnell carried him back to the main house, and when he returned, he found Vanessa standing by the window with tears streaming down her face. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to be his mother. I missed everything. His first day of school, learning to read, all of it. I'm a stranger to him. You're here now. That's what matters. Is it? Or am I just making things harder? He has a life, a routine, a father who actually knows how to take care of him. Don't say, you should leave again. We're past that, are we? Because it doesn't feel like it. It feels like I'm still running, just in a different way. Darnell had no answer because she was right. They were living separate lives under the same sky, close enough to see each other, but too far apart to actually connect. The next day, Darnell made a decision. He couldn't force Vanessa to heal faster, but he could stop treating her like glass that might shatter. That evening, he knocked on the guest house door. Vanessa answered, looking exhausted. Have dinner with us tomorrow night. In a main house. As a family. Vanessa started to shake her head. Please. Jallen's been asking, and I think it's time we stop pretending this arrangement is working. The next evening, Vanessa appeared at the front door at exactly 6 p.m. She wore a simple dress Darnell remembered from years ago. Jallen lit up when he saw her. You're eating with us? They sat at the dining table together. Darnell had cooked. Nothing fancy, just pasta and salad, but it felt monumental. The three of them in the same space, sharing a meal. Jallen chattered through dinner about his day at school. Vanessa listened, actually smiled a few times, real smiles that reached her eyes. Darnell felt something shift in his chest. After dinner, Jallen asked if Vanessa wanted to see his room. She looked at Darnell, uncertain. Go ahead. He watched them disappear upstairs, heard Jallen's excited voice explaining his toy collection. For the first time in months, the house felt like a home. They made it a routine, dinner together twice a week, then 3 times, then most nights. Vanessa slowly became part of their daily life. She helped Jallen with homework, read him stories before bed, started painting again, small pieces at first, then larger canvases. Darnell found himself looking for excuses to talk to her, asking her opinion on business decisions, discussing Jallen's progress at school. Just being in the same room felt easier than it had in years. One night, after Jallen went to bed, they sat in the living room with coffee. Rain drummed against the windows, the first real storm since the night Darnell found her. I talked to my lawyer today about custody. I want to make it official that I'm Jallen's mother, that I have rights. Darnell set down his cup. Of course. I'll have my lawyer draw up whatever you need. Thank you. For everything. For not giving up on me, even when I gave up on myself. I never gave up. I was angry, hurt, but I never stopped. He caught himself. Never stopped what? Loving her? Missing her? Hoping she'd come back? Vanessa looked up. Something in her expression made his breath catch. Never stopped what? Before Darnell could answer, a crack of thunder shook the house. Vanessa jumped violently, coffee spilling across the table. She was on her feet instantly, backing toward the wall. It's just thunder. You're safe. But Vanessa wasn't hearing him. Her eyes had gone distant, breathing fast and shallow. Vanessa, look at me. You're here. You're safe. She shook her head, tears streaming down her face. I can't do this. I thought I could, but I can't. Another crash of thunder. Vanessa bolted for the door. Vanessa, wait. But she was already running out the front door into the storm. No coat, no shoes. Darnell grabbed his jacket and went after her. Rain hit him like a wall. He could barely see through the downpour, but he spotted her heading toward the garden, toward the gate leading to the street. Vanessa, stop! She stumbled near the fountain. Darnell caught up and grabbed her arm. She spun on him, eyes wild with panic. Let me go. I have to go. I'm going to hurt you, hurt Jallen. I ruin everything. That's not true, Darnell said firmly, holding her shoulders. Look at me. That's not true. Yes, it is. I left him. I abandoned my baby. What kind of mother does that? A terrified one. A person who thought she was protecting the people she loved. You made the wrong choice, but you made it out of love. It doesn't matter. The damage is done. Darnell pulled her closer. She collapsed against him. You don't have to fix it alone. You never did. That was the mistake we both made. You thought you had to handle everything yourself, and I was too blind to see you were drowning. Vanessa's hands clutched his jacket. I'm so tired, Darnell. I'm so tired of being afraid, of feeling broken. Then stop trying to be normal. Normal is overrated. Just try to be here, present. That's enough. They stood in the rain for a long time. Eventually, Vanessa's breathing steadied. She pulled back slightly, looking up at him with red, swollen eyes. I never stopped loving you. Through everything, through all the fear and pain and years of running, I never stopped. A muscle worked in Darnell's jaw. I never stopped either. I tried. God knows I tried, but I couldn't. What do we do now? We start over. Not where we were. Where we are. Two broken people who love each other, trying to figure out how to be a family again. Vanessa touched his face with trembling fingers. I don't know if I can be what you need. You're already what I need. You're here. You're trying. That's everything. He kissed her then, soft and careful, like something precious he'd thought lost forever. She kissed him back with years of longing and regret and hope all tangled together. When they finally went back inside, soaking wet and exhausted, they found Jallen sitting on the stairs in his pajamas. Why are you wet? Vanessa knelt in front of him. I had a bad dream. Your dad helped me feel better. Jallen wrapped his small arms around her neck. I have bad dreams too sometimes. Dad says hugs help. Vanessa held him tight, crying silently into his shoulder. Darnell watched his family piece itself back together, one moment at a time. The healing wasn't instant. There were setbacks, more nightmares, more moments of panic. But they faced them together now. Vanessa moved into the main house a month later, taking the bedroom down the hall from Darnell's, separate but close. They went to therapy together, learned to communicate, learned to trust again. Darnell cut back his hours at work. Vanessa started painting seriously. They built a new normal from the ruins of the old one. 6 months after that rainy night, Darnell took Vanessa and Jallen to the park. It was a bright afternoon in early spring, flowers blooming everywhere. Jallen ran ahead to the playground. Darnell stopped by a bench and turned to Vanessa. I have something to ask you. Vanessa looked at him curiously. What? Darnell pulled out a small box. Inside was a simple silver band, nothing like the elaborate ring he'd given her the first time. I'm not asking you to marry me. Not yet. You're not ready, and honestly, neither am I. But I want you to have this as a promise that I choose you. Today, tomorrow, every day after, no matter how hard it gets. Vanessa's eyes filled with tears. You don't have to answer now. Take your time. Yes, Vanessa interrupted. She was smiling and crying at the same time. Yes, I choose you too. Every day. Darnell slipped the ring onto her finger. They sat on the bench together, watching Jallen play. Not married, not quite whole, but together. And that was enough. 3 months later, they did get married. A small ceremony in the garden with only close friends and family. Darnell's mother attended, tears in her eyes as she apologized to Vanessa for years of coldness. Jallen served as ring bearer, beaming with pride. The ceremony was simple. No elaborate vows or grand gestures. Just two people promising to choose each other through the messy, complicated reality of life. Afterward, Darnell found Vanessa standing alone by the fountain. Thinking about running? Vanessa smiled. No, actually, for the first time in years, I'm not thinking about running at all. She showed him a letter that had arrived that morning. Brianna's handwriting. Brief, simple. An apology from prison. Are you going to respond? Eventually. Not because she deserves it, but because I need to let go of the anger. For me. Darnell pulled her close. You're stronger than you think. We're stronger together. They watched Jallen chase bubbles across the lawn, watched their guests laugh and celebrate, watched the sun set over their new beginning. Later that night, after everyone had gone home, the three of them sat on the porch swing, Jallen between his parents, already half asleep. Will you tell me the story about how you and Mom met? Darnell and Vanessa looked at each other. There is so much pain in that story, so much they'd have to explain someday. But not tonight. Once upon a time, Darnell began, there was a man who lost something precious. He thought it was gone forever. But then one rainy night, he found again. And he realized some things are worth fighting for, no matter how broken they seem. What did he find? Jallen asked sleepily. Darnell looked at Vanessa. She smiled. His family. He found his family. Love isn't the absence of cracks. Love is choosing to hold the pieces together even after they've shattered. It's showing up day after day. It's forgiving the unforgivable. It's believing that broken things, when mended with care, can be stronger than they were before. And sometimes the most beautiful stories are the ones that had to fall apart before they could truly begin. If this story moved you, hit that like and let me know in the comments what part resonated most with you. Your support helps me bring more powerful stories like this to life.